Hi everyone, I wanted to do an autumnal picture today and I came across this one. This is from Twilight Garden by Maria Trolle, and as you can see it's a circular design with a repeating pattern, so I thought I would just do one of each of the elements on the page so that then it could be easy to complete the rest, and I will complete it and pop a picture at the end. But let's come in a little bit closer and have a proper look at what we've got. So we've got some cobnuts, I think, in the middle, and then we have a chestnut or a horse chestnut. I think that's I don't know. Acorns, a couple of leaves. We have another chestnut and some more acorns, and that looks like a hazelnut, but I think I'll colour it as a chestnut, but I'm not sure. Or maybe a cobnut. But there's lots of different browns are needed for this picture, so I've got my Polychromos out because they're great for browns, and thought that I would just make a start. So we'll come in really close to make it a little easier for you to see what I'm doing. There we go. I'm going to start with the cobnuts. That's what I think they are. I haven't actually. In some of her books, I think she lists what the items are, but she doesn't in this one, so I'm just guessing. But for me, I'm cold. For me, the cobnut often has a sort of green coloured piece on the outside, so that's what I'm going to do first. I'm going to use my May green. I think this is the right sort of colour, and I'm just going to dive in and start colouring really. I just realised I haven't got any paper behind the page. I haven't got any in here. Hold on. Got some paper. Oh, that went very out of focus, didn't it? Sorry. Just popping it. I always like to pop some sheets of paper behind the page. What I've taken to doing, look, there's black and white pages behind, so even more important. What I've taken to doing is on a book of this size, I get some paper that's by my printer. When people print something incorrectly, they just shove the pieces of paper by the printer. So I grabbed two of those and put the printed pages face to face so that I've got a blank piece either side, and pop that in the book. So I'm just going to colour all of this to start with in this May green. I really like this colour. And then I'm going to get a darker green just to do a little bit of shading work, nothing too complex. I'm going to go to the permanent green olive. Oops. It really is a bit dark and dingy today. I hope you can see okay. And I'm going to pop a little bit along this edge here. I thought I could hear it raining, but it isn't. It's windy. But I went out this morning, luckily it was dry. A little bit here and here. This might be a bit bright, but I like it, so that's okay. And a bit there. And then I'm going to go back over again with the May green, just to blend it in slightly, just to keep it looking pretty, because I like this colour. And I think if you have a more intense colour, it can look nicer. Now the only other thing I'm thinking is to grab this colour. This is the earth green yellowish, and just do a little bit on each edge. So on each side, a bit here, and then just bring it in, and the same here, to try and make it look a little bit rounded, because this is a rounded shape. And we'll try and do that with the cobnut itself. I can't actually remember what colour the cobnut is. I think it's really similar to an acorn, so that's how I'm going to colour it. Oops, I'm just readjusting my chair. Oh, there we go. Oh, I hit the desk. Okay, so I'm actually going to start with the burnt ochre. There we go. I'm sorry it's so hard to see. Polychromos are, aren't they? Some brands of pencil are really easy to see in the camera. Look at that lovely autumnal rich colour. I'm actually going to layer it up a little bit near the edge and just fade it a little bit towards the middle, because I want to try and make it look like it's got some shape and a bit of shine, maybe. It does look a little odd, but that's not our final part. I'm now going to grab the burnt umber. Oops, there we go. You can see the colour on that one, although it's a bit blurred to my eyes. I'm going to put a little bit there, a bit along the bottom here where there would be some shadow from this greenery. And there we go, and a bit around there. And then back to the burnt ochre to blend that in a bit on the sides. Where this shadow is, I want to leave that quite defined. But I can just blend that in a bit. I can probably bring that in just a tad more. But I do want it to look a bit shiny. So there is our cobnut. Let's move down. Now we have our chestnut. Now a chestnut is usually quite dark on the bottom and then this part on the top a bit lighter. So I'm going to grab my burnt umber and actually start with that colour on this bottom area. I'm just going to do a light layer all over. Now often our chestnuts are quite glossy, and the word chestnut, clue is in the name. They have a bit of sienna type colour in them. So I'm going to actually grab the sienna. Whoops. This is the burnt sienna. And I'm going to go all over this. Oh, I can hear the boilers come on. I don't know how loud that is. I just put a cardi on because it's quite cold. But that for me is a little bit pale. But I just wanted to get that layer of colour on. So we've got that reddish touch. And then I can go back in with my burnt umber and darken it up on the edge and fade towards the middle. Very much like we did with the cobnut, because we want to get some shine. Conkers, as we call them, can be extremely shiny, especially when they're new, fresh out of their case, like the ones are here. This case inside can be a bit wet, so as they come out they're so shiny. So I'm pleased with that. I think that looks okay. But this top piece, these are usually quite pale. Just thinking about what to do. I think I want to do yes, maybe the bistre might work, slightly grey brown, and just a really light layer, because they really are often very, very pale. So that's it. That really is it. Okay, acorn next. Now on this one we have these two blips. I think they're not identical. Look at that. That one has a blip, that one has two. I think we'll do this one because it's got the blip on. I mean, this one's got two, but you can figure out how to do it. Or I've got to try and figure out how to do it first. Let's do the cup part, as I call it, with the walnut brown. It's obviously not a walnut, but... Now what I want to do is have two effects at once, which makes it slightly complex. I'm going to do the stick the same and this bit. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is to make it look rounded by making it darker here, like that, compared to this side. Okay, now with this one it's sort of rounded, but we're looking at it from above, so I'm just going to make it a bit darker in the middle, and with the stick I'm just going to go along the outside like that. Okay, now same pencil, I'm going to do a little bit of colour shading. So with this one I'm going to put a little bit around the outside edge. That's it. Now with this one it's going to be darker in here where they're overlapping, these little bits, there'll be some shadow. So I'm just going to go around where the lines are and make it a little bit darker. You need a sharpish pencil for this to get into those little gaps, but I think it's worth it. There we go, and it's as simple as that. So although there were sort of two stages, it's done now. Now the main nut, would quite like it to be the same colour as the coconut, but I'm going to make it slightly different because I think it will make the page look more interesting. So I'm going to use the terracotta to start with. Whoops, I can't get it out of the tin. It's fighting with me. Here it is. Terracotta. So let's put down a layer of terracotta just so we can see how it looks on the page. That's a nice colour. And again, like with the cup part, we want it to be darker on the edges. So I'm going to layer up some more terracotta to start with on the edge and on this edge. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing. It looks like it. Now I have lots of acorns on this page and they're all going to be done in the same way. So I'm not going to do more than one. Just to sort of warn you. Now I feel that these edges need to be a bit darker like we did with these. So I'm going to grab my walnut brown and do the edges. It can be quite nice to colour right over the black mark and then just bring it in a tad. But with our walnut, with our acorn, so I've got these lines, we can just carry those up a tad as well. And then I'm going to go back over with the terracotta just to blend that in and hopefully make it look a little bit less dirty. I think it's looking a bit dirty. There we go, it's better. And again, we've got this little bit of shine in the middle, which I think is important, makes a big difference. Okay, I've got a leaf and a leaf. Let's do this first, and then I'll think about colours of leaves. I want to introduce some greens, but now I'm thinking about the conker case, as I call it, or chestnut case. The stick, I think, would just be a woody colour, so I'm going to do that first actually, and this is the burnt umber that I'm going to use. I really should be noting this down. I'm going to have to re-watch my video to remember what I'm doing, which colour for which. But that's okay. So taking this all the way up to here. And then I'm actually going to go around the edge of it with a darker line. I find it helps to make it look less flat. I don't know why, but it seems to work. There we go. Now I'm going to put a bit of this brown into the shell, just because it seems to naturally lead from the wood. So there are areas that have got dots on, so I'm going to do those. With this, I'm not pressing too hard. Like that. And then the shell itself, yeah, I'm going to grab the earth green yellowish, I think. It's hard to read, isn't it? Just ordered a few more of these. I looked through my set. There was a Jackson's Art had a special offer on Faber Castell, so I had a look through what I had, and there were 11 of my Polychromos that were less than half a length. A lot of them I've got spares for, just because I've ordered spares before, or I had some open stock and things like that when I first started. Now I want some dark colour around the bottom here, so I'm going to look. Yeah, this is probably the best. This is the Chromium green opaque. Chromium green opaque. I'm just sharpening it and I'll show you. You can grab the number, but I think it's the only one that's got opaque on it. And I'm going to basically go all the way around the bottom. I think I'm going to ignore the prickles, make it a bit darker, but just bring that colour up a little bit. Then I'll have a look and see how it sort of works. Yeah, I think I'll just fade it up a bit more. There we go. Now inside this sort of, it's a sort of furry stuff which is wet and usually white. I don't think I want to leave it white, but this paper is quite cream, so I'm not sure. I'm going to just try this colour and see if it works. No, I'm going to do it white. Because the paper's cream, hopefully the white will show up. We'll see. This paper looks extra creamy in my light. My lamp is on a warm setting. It looks really yellowy, the lamp light. I think it's because the paper's white, yellowy though. I'm not sure that's showing up at all. And I'm thinking maybe where the chestnut is, there'd be a bit of shadow. I'm thinking maybe I should do that in a sort of cream. I don't know if this will show up now. I've burnished it in white though. I'm just going to put a little bit under there. Never mind. Let's put this done. Now, you can tell I'm not really very happy with that. I'm not sure. It's because it's white. There's not much I can do. I suppose I could draw on the fur texture, but it's so tiny. It doesn't look like fur. It just feels soft to the touch. I think I'm going to do it all in cream. I'm going to put cream all over the whole thing and see if I can get it to show up a little bit. Yeah, that's better. I'm happy with that because it looks like I've coloured it. You can see a bit of colour in there. That, I'm not going to colour the chestnut. It's going to be the same as the one up here. I would do the shine across that bit, maybe a little bit higher. Right, we're almost done. This again is a chestnut, I think. It looks really similar to that one up there. I can't see them both in the shot at once. We've got our leaves to do. Now this to me looks like an oak leaf, which would make sense as this is an acorn. So let's do that first. Now I really like doing oak leaves with a graduation of colour from brown to green. That's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to start with the burnt umber on the outside. I'm not going to take it in too far, but the idea is to try and get a good layer on the edge and then a slightly lighter one just inside so that it blends better with the next colour. Just looking out, just distracted by the weather. The wind is really picking up. It was forecast to pick up, maybe not quite yet, but I was out this morning, went to the post office. I wanted to get some Christmas stamps, but they don't come out until tomorrow. It's the 2nd of November today, and they don't come out until the 3rd, which is a shame. Burnt sienna. But I need to get some things in the post, so I had to get some stamps anyway. So I'm just extending that really a little bit. I don't want it too dark all the way through the leaf, but just a little bit more through here. Now I'm thinking that what I'm saying is a cob nut might be a beech nut, and this might be a beech leaf. Beech leaves are beautiful at this time of the year. I was looking at them today, actually, terracotta. I'm just grabbing the colours I've already got out on the desk. I don't want too much of this. I don't want it too orangey really, but it's a nice sort of transition from the sienna to my next colour. There we go. I'm going to go to a brown, but I want pale brown. Let's grab this one. This is the brown ochre. You can see it's sort of orangish, but it's paler. I'm going over everything because I can see that we've got quite a bit of white paper showing through, and if I go over it with this light one, it will help to blend it all together. And now when you look at leaves that are changing colour, the colour isn't gradual. You know, when we shade something, we don't usually have a harsh line like this or like this. We usually try and blend it all in, but with leaves that isn't what happens. They going in for a green gold. They tend to have more harsh lines, but it's up to you if you want to. I think it looks prettier if it's gradual. I seem to have managed to get a mix of each. It's because I've been a bit scruffy. I'm going to really fade this in a bit like that, and then I'm going to go for green. I'm going to put the May green in there now. I do enjoy these beautiful autumn colours. Such fun. I was actually colouring something Christmassy just now. It was quite funny. It was I was working my way through a book and I'm doing it in order, just because it's one that I'm near to finishing, and I'm sort of, well, not that near to finishing, but nearish. I'm just going over quite a bit to get it all blended in. And I thought, sorry, I just did the Christmas page. It was only one, so I did it. I made a couple of shorts videos. Well, they might be if it worked. I played around with a few design bits of it. I haven't finished the page yet. Now this one, as I say, I think this is a beech leaf. Now beech leaves go a beautiful colour, and I'm just wondering, I think they don't really, there's not really a half. It's green or it's brown. So I'm just going to do them brown. I might, yeah, let's try this. Right, we'll go with the terracotta first. And I'm going to do the whole leaf in terracotta in a fairly heavy layer. Not so heavy I'm burnishing, but just heavy enough so we can really see that colour. Because I'm not necessarily going to go back over this layer with any more of this colour. Might need it, but the plan is to make it dark enough so that maybe it doesn't. So that is just making it look a bit more even. But what I'm going to do is I am going to use a darker brown. I'm going to use the walnut brown to just do a few details. Firstly, the stalk. I'll make that a bit darker. Go around the edge a little bit. Sometimes I think it's quite good to go around the edge, because even if it's in the colour you've coloured with, because it's really easy to miss the edge, especially if you're worried about going out of the lines. You might not go too close to the edge too much. You might find then you get little white areas on the edge. And then I'm just going to go along all of these lines. Then that will be it. I'm having a quick look while I'm doing this, which isn't very sensible as I'm trying to stay in the lines, to see if I've missed anything, but I don't think I have. So I'm going to complete the page on my own and take a photo so you can see the completed page, and then you can have a go at it yourself if you want to. I am going to go back over that with another layer of the terracotta, because doing those darker areas has sort of shown up to me that it isn't as dark as it could be. So I just work my way through and darken it up. but this page will certainly be full of autumnal colour, which is nice. But I've got to go away. I need to download the video so that I can re-watch it and colour each bit according to the colours I've used, because I don't know. I've just got a pile of pencils on my table. I do know what colour that bit in there was, but that is it. So I've got to go and watch it and have a go. It will take a little while to finish, but my top tip for finishing things more quickly, although it can make it a little less interesting, is to do all of those, then do all of the conkers, those, then do all of the acorn. What you have to do in this order: do all of the leaves, do all of those leaves, do all of those shells. You know, pick something. Like, even when you do the acorn, don't do the whole acorn, just do this brown colour on every bit, and these as well. And then it's quicker than keep chopping and changing colours all the time, but as I said, it might not be as interesting. So anyway, have a think. But I'm not going to do any sort of background on here. I think these autumnal colours pop out really nicely. A yellow background would work, but I think these wouldn't look so bright on the page. And as we've got a cream there anyway, I really don't think it needs any more. So as I said, I'm just going to finish up what's here, just in exactly the way I've explained it to you. And there we are, and it'll be done. So I think it's, I'm really liking these lovely warm colours, so I'm looking forward to getting that finished and actually seeing what it looks like when it's done. But all you have to do is hang around for a few seconds, and it'll be on the thumbnail, or you can see it on the end picture, I mean, or you can see it on the thumbnail of the video, of course. But I have, as per requested, I do leave the finished picture up for a little bit longer most of the time. Very occasionally I forget, because in my editing software it puts the end picture up for 3 seconds, and I have to remember to extend that time because 3 seconds isn't long enough, but sometimes I just forget. You know, we're all human, and editing isn't the most fun bit of doing this job, you know, making videos. So I sometimes forget. I try and remember to put them on for 25 seconds, which gives you long enough to grab your remote control, pause it, and have a look at it if you want to do that. But that's all for me for now. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed that. I'm having such fun with these autumnal pictures. And have a really lovely day, and happy colouring.